We are now joined by Florida A&M head coach Willie Simmons. The Rattlers fell to Bethune-Cookman this past weekend in their season finale at the annual Florida Classic. Good morning, Coach. How you doing?
Hey, good morning. Sorry about the apologize for the tardiness.
No problem, Coach. Just talk about your season finale last weekend at the Florida Classic, and just talk about the atmosphere and your first time being involved in the game as a head coach.
Well, the game was definitely everything that, or the build up to the game and all the events surrounding it was everything that I anticipated. You know, it's an electric environment, over 50,000 fans, in Campbell World Stadium, and a lot of buzz surrounding the game this year. You know, obviously, this was the first year that FAMU went into the game with anything at stake other than bragging rights. And so, Rattler Nation was there strong. They were very supportive, and we're looking forward to hopefully seeing us finish out the season or the regular season the way that we wanted and give us a chance to continue our season in the Celebration Bowl. But, unfortunately, we went into the game and, just didn't play as well as we had hoped to play. I think for the first time really all season, the injury bug kind of finally caught up to us. We had to sit a couple of key players, or at least Chad Hunter, our lead receiver, had to sit him for the game, obviously, and a lot of our running backs started to be banged up, and so we just didn't have the depth at a lot of our skill positions that we would have needed to be the fast athletic team such as Bethune. We had our chances, had a couple of red zone opportunities there early in the game that we didn't capitalize on, and punted the ball down to the 1 yard line, had a phenomenal punt by Chris Badul, and guys got out gapped and we allowed them to go 99 yards for a touchdown, which really kind of blew the game open for them and gave them momentum. Had a extra point blocked after a big touchdown to tie the game at 19 and give them momentum back. So in a game like that, obviously, when momentum is going to be a huge factor, which it is in every type of rivalry game, they found a way to keep the momentum, and we could never keep it on our side. But again, I tip my hat to Coach Terry Sims and his staff and the job they did preparing their guys. And obviously their players made plays when they needed to, and ours didn't. But again, it was a great season. I think we'll look back on this season and see this as the focal point for the resurgence of Florida A&M football. And I think we have a very bright future. A lot of returning guys coming back for next season, and those guys are eager to get to work right now. And we look forward to a great off season and great recruit cycle to continue to grow this program to the level that we think it's capable of getting to.
Thank you, Coach. We'll now open up the call for questions from the media.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. If you'd like to register a question, please press the 1 followed by the 4 on your telephone. You will hear a 3-tone prompt to acknowledge your request. If your question has been answered and you would like to withdraw your registration, please press the 1 followed by the 3. If you are using a speakerphone, please lift your handset before entering your request. Once again, to register a phone question, it is the 1 followed by the 4. And there appear to be no questions at this time.
Coach, just talk about your first season at Florida A&M as a whole, and what did you learn about the team that you didn't expect coming into the season?
Well, you know what? I didn't know what to expect coming home to Florida A&M. Obviously, I grew up here, and a lot of great moments here on this campus, whether it's coming to a football game or coming to the set as a high school student, or even coming back to attempt to play here at FAMU my senior year. So to come back and take over this program that has so much history and tradition, it was a great feeling for me. Really didn't know what to expect from the guys, but once I got here, what I can say is that they really did everything they could to buy in and try to do the things that it takes to become a championship caliber football team. They got a lot closer as a team. I think they worked harder this year than they've ever worked in their lives. I think they sacrificed more than they've ever sacrificed. And they put us in a position that we hadn't been around here in a very, very long time, to have a chance to win a conference championship, to really have to control our own destiny. And, that was a great feeling to have that the entire season, and it went all the way down to the last weekend. And so I think it's a great learning lesson for our guys, for them to understand what it takes to sustain the level of success that we experienced in the middle of the season. But the thing I learned about the guys was that didn't even have success at the high school level. So this was, a few of our players' first winning season since high school, and that's, it's scary to even say that. But again, we're trying to build consistent winners and guys that understand what it means to be a champion on and off the field, and that's an ongoing process. And again, I'm well aware of the high expectations here at Florida A&M University. I'm well aware of the disappointments that a lot of our faithful experience right now. Feeling like we, couldn't finish the job and get it done to get to the Celebration Bowl. But I think I also feel the sense of optimism surrounding this program because they do see a change in our guys. They do see a group of guys that are doing great things not only on the football field but in the classroom and in the community. And that's what it means to be a true Florida A&M Rattler. And that's what I learned about these guys, and that's been my experience this year, that they're a resilient group, that they're willing to do the things that we ask of them, at least try to the best of their ability. And now they see that we do have the ability to be a championship caliber football team if we just continue to work extremely hard. And I think we have a group that's ready to do that. And I'm really looking forward to continuing to build and grow this program with the guys we have returning, and also as we hit the road to try to identify the next set of future Rattlers, who will come in and continue to propel this program to the next level.
And we have one question for you, Coach. Hold on.
And that's from the line of Ty Miller with Power News and Sports Radio Network. Please proceed with your question.
Hey, Coach Simmons, good morning to you, and congratulations on a great season. How you doing?
Hey, Ty, good morning, bro. I appreciate that.
Coach, you just mentioned at the tail end of your first question from Ryan about the fact that, a lot of rappers are going out and you got to bring some new ones in. Can you talk about what you will be losing and more importantly, talk about what you will be looking for to replace on your team with the top spots offensively and defensively that you're looking to replace?
Well, I think the biggest areas that we'll lose from this senior class will be up front on both sides of the ball, which is never a good thing to say. The majority of our seniors are offensive and defensive linemen, and so we definitely have a tall task of trying to go out and find guys who can come in and be prepared to play right away on both sides. And, I think we're losing 5 offensive linemen and 4 defensive linemen. Antonio Miller has been one of the top defensive linemen in this conference for the last few years. He's an undersized guy, a little bit over 6 feet, a little bit over 200 pounds, but anybody that's watched him play knows that he's a one-man wrecking crew. And so to lose him would definitely hurt our defensive line. Elijah Watkins has been a consistent performer for us up front. On the offensive side of the line, you got Pat Dalton and Miles Rouse, our 2 starting tackles. You have Lubens Polynice, who's been an all-conference type of performer, during his time here. And so those would be the biggest pieces that we'll have to replace. We have some young guys that we're really excited about. That was a point of emphasis for us in recruiting to sign high school offensive and defensive linemen in our first recruit class. But, obviously to build any type of program that's sustainable, I think it starts up front on both sides of the ball. And that's got to be our point of emphasis this year. And we also have to go out to continue to increase our team speed because we think that's going to be the staple of our program. But that's what we're losing, and that's what we'll be looking to definitely upgrade and replace in this new recruiting cycle.
And, Coach, you raised the level of expectations in a very short time. So is there any pressure going forward? Because I'm sure after what happened this season, although you kind of slowed down the stretch, the expectation level of the faculty, the administration, and the student body is going to be greater for the Rattlers next season.
Well, that's what I'm accustomed to. When I grew up knowing about FAMU and my experiences here, the expectation has always been extremely high. It's always been for this team to compete for championships year in and year out. And anything short of that, is a disappointment. And so I fully expect the Rattler Nation, the administration, the student body, everyone involved to expect this program to take the next step. Like I said, we've shown that we can compete, with anybody in this conference this year. And I think that's what they expected to see when they hired me. But now it's about taking the program to the next level and being able to get over the hump. And so I don't feel any pressure, so to speak, in that regard, because that's been my expectation since I got here. And anything short of that would be a disappointment to me. And so nobody puts more pressure on me than I do myself, maybe other than my wife, but nobody else puts any more pressure on me. And so I expect this program to continue to move forward. And if everyone gets behind us, which I know they will, I think FAMU can reclaim its place as as one of the preeminent programs at the FCS level.
Thank you, Coach, and thank you for the information this season you gave us.
I appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
Well, Coach, thank you for joining us this season. Enjoyed talking with you, and good luck in the off season as you prepare for the 2019 season and also your recruiting season.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate everything this year, and I look forward to speaking with you again in the near future.
Same here. We were joined by Florida A&M head coach Willie Simmons as the Rattler finished the season with a 6-5 overall and 5-2 record in the MEAC. We'll now move down to Daytona Beach as we're joined by Bethune-Cookman head coach Terry Sims. The Wildcats defeated Florida A&M last weekend in their season finale, which was the Florida Classic, and their season is concluded. Good morning, Coach. How you doing?
Good morning, Ryan. I'm great. How are you?
I'm good. Coach, recap last weekend's game versus Florida A&M, and just talk about your team's mentality as y'all pretty much were involved in a heavyweight fight from start to finish.
Well, I first and foremost, I have to definitely give credit to Coach Simmons and his staff and the football team. Their staff came in and they gave their football team a new direction, a new energy, and you could see it on Saturday. You could see it definitely in watching film, but they came to play Saturday. And I said it earlier, the team that made the fewest mistakes and the most plays would win the game. We ended up having the ball bounce our way, and we made, a few more plays down the stretch. And that was the difference in the game. But it was definitely a game that we expected. We expected, the game to be exciting. We knew it would be close because they always are. Those are close games. It's a rivalry game. And you have two great coaching staffs and two very talented football teams. I again have to really, really thank my staff, for the job they did. And, our offensive line, we had to play two backups on the offensive line. We had two guys out. We had a redshirt freshman and a guy that hadn't really played a lot. Redshirt freshman playing right tackle. And our one of our guards was a guy that really hadn't played a lot. We had to move him from defensive line. So definitely those guys' effort coming into the game on Saturday. Not playing with Joseph Johnson, one of our starting safeties, and Uriah Gilbert, starting defensive lineman. So we had to have guys fill in, and that's us around here. It's next man up, and the guys that stepped up. Darius Clark on the D line, they stepped up and filled gaps, and helped us be successful on Saturday.
Thank you, Coach. We'll now open up the call for questions from the media.
Ladies and gentlemen, as a reminder, to register for a question, it is the 1 followed by the 4 on your telephone. 1-4 to register a question. And there appear to be no questions at this time.
Coach, one thing I think was probably overlooked throughout the season, and I don't know if people even realize it, you did not have a bye weekend the entire season. You went from August 31st or September 1st all the way till November 17th nonstop. Talk about that experience, and have you ever endured that as a coach on any level?
I have had it happen, a couple of times in my coaching career as an assistant, and I believe this. You can use the open week to try and get healthy and rest some guys and work on fundamentals. That's always great, but really and truly, being a competitor, guys want to play football, coaches want to coach football, and you don't get better at this game any other way but playing it. So, having an opportunity to play, I'm always going to take it if it makes sense for our program, travel-wise, just logistically, period. And I thought this one made sense, and I really think it helped us down the road. It helped us increase our game speed. You know, playing a school like Nebraska and having to keep up with them step on the field, I think it helped us. So it was a tough journey, but our guys didn't waver, didn't complain about anything. We just showed up and went to work and got it done.
And speaking of getting it done for the season, when your quarterback went down, just talk about some of the adjustments he had to make in order to get the remaining quarterbacks up to speed and to get to the production that Akivi has brought to the table.
Well, it's always hard to replace a guy like Akivi because, you know, he has been around here for a while, understands the offense, he's a natural leader, and the team was following him. So to lose him on the field, to lose him, you know, running this offense, it was huge. But, you know, David Israel, he stepped up and, you know, he started to do the things that we knew he could do and make big plays and make crucial plays. And Jabari Dunham, you know, he came in and managed the offense and moved the team down the field. So I think just having small packages for both of those guys and things that tailor to, you know, to their skill sets, it helped us. So, you know, Coach Suber and offensive staff did a great job of coming up with things that those two guys did well and calling those plays for you know, those two when they were on the field. And the guys went out and performed. So it was a little bit of a task in getting, you know, those guys caught up to speed because they had not taken a lot of game reps. And you know, practice reps are not the same. So again, you know, it's a great accomplishment for those two guys to come in and fill in and take this football team where they took us this year.
And speaking of where you're going, just talk about your off-season and what are your immediate plans in terms of getting better for the upcoming season?
Well, we had 5 guys that we lost to injuries, knee injuries this year. So we definitely have to get those guys healthy. They all have already had surgery and they're rehabbing. So getting them back and getting them involved in off-season program. And then we got to go out and find a few D linemen and a couple more O linemen to fill in some gaps up front. Because we definitely have to have that shored up before we go into spring ball. So we'll have a few mid-year guys that we'll bring in to fill those holes. And we'll get this team back going because we don't lose a whole lot. We lose some key guys, but we don't lose a lot of players. We only had 16 seniors. So we have a football team coming back that we're excited about, that we think has a very bright future in the conference.
And before we close out, go back to the Florida Classic. Can you kind of take us through those big plays that kind of changed the outcome of the game? As it seemed like special teams, especially, you found ways this year to win games on special teams, and it came up big, especially with that PAT block, and then also that 99-yard run. And I know they referenced that block one offensive lineman made. Can you kind of just tell us how those plays materialized and what you stress about adversity in overcoming that?
Well, you know, we had we had to face an opponent that's outstanding. You know, Florida A&M's opponent, he's a great talent, and you know that young man can put the ball wherever he wants it. He did a great job of getting that ball down to the 1, but you know we didn't waver. Jonathan Thomas, one of our receivers, he had a great block to actually spring Pough, and you know Pough took over from there. And you know, a lot of people hadn't heard a lot about him this year. You know, he's been the workhorse guy going in and getting a lot of the tough yards. It's been a lot of Jimmy Robinson talk. Jimmy got dinged up in the game and you know didn't play a whole lot. But you know, Pough helped us there on the block PAT. it's just there's something, that group has taken pride in blocking extra points and field goals this year. Coach Larkins and Coach Lane have done a great job preparing them, and they just feel like they're supposed to block everyone that they go after. So again, just hats off to those guys for doing that. Malik Jackson coming up with a big catch, later on in the game to give us another spark. We had a few guys, and Trevor Merritt having an interception there big, and Tydarius Peterson coming up with 2 interceptions, the last one to ice the football game. And it was a joint effort. Marcus Ford, he definitely put a lot of pressure on the quarterback, and Ty was right where he needed to be when the ball was thrown, and he ended up intercepting it and taking it all the way back for a touchdown. So just a lot of guys just coming doing their jobs. No one trying to win the game on one play. Everyone just winning the individual battles and making the plays that they're supposed to make.
Coach, we enjoyed speaking with you this year, and good luck in the off season, and especially as it really football never stops because recruiting and then recruiting again, and then it's spring ball. So definitely good luck coming up, and we'll definitely talk again as time goes on.
I appreciate it, Ryan. Had a lot of fun this year. I appreciate everything you guys do at the conference. You do a great job, and hopefully I'll see you here in a couple weeks.
No problem, Coach. See you later, and good luck once again.
Thank you.
You're welcome. That was Bethune-Cookman's Terry Simmons as the Wildcats finished the season in a second-place tie with Florida A&M with a 7-5 overall record, and they were 5-2 in MEAC play. We will be joined by Delaware State University head coach Rod Milstead as the Hornets closed out the season with the win over Virginia Lynchburg last week, and they have concluded their season as they have their most wins since 2013. Good morning, Coach. How you doing?
I'm fantastic, Ryan. How are you?
I'm good, Coach. Just talk about last weekend's game versus Virginia Lynchburg.
Last week was a fun game for our program and our players. Everyone got an opportunity to play. We got a chance to evaluate some of our younger guys who hadn't been playing all year long. We did something creative, and wanted to give our third-string quarterback an opportunity. So we gave him an opportunity to start the football game, and he goes 16 for 19 with 3 touchdowns and I believe 216 yards. So it was good to give him an opportunity to see what he can do. He really impressed all of us, and it shows that our program is going in the right direction. So very, very thankful for the win, to win 3 out of the last 4, and the 3 that we did win, we won them in the Hornets' nest. So we got something to build on. We're protecting our nest, protecting our home field, and we're looking forward to the spring and recruiting and adding more pieces of the puzzle to help move the program along.
And you kind of took my next question because I wanted to say, you've been pulling out these tricks from under your hat with guys the last few weeks that come out of nowhere and had these performances. Can you kind of just talk about the quarterback exchange, if I'm not mistaken? What led to that decision? And I know even though he's third string, did you expect that performance out of him, 16 or 19?
Well, it's funny you said that, Ryan. I've been watching Shane all year long, and at the beginning of the season, he wasn't ready for that opportunity. And he just kept on working. He never complained. And he would stay on the sideline, and he'd actually be in my hip pocket pretty much everywhere I went. And what he did was he became a student of the game. He started to listen to the calls, listen to the guy, watch the guys in front of him, and he just learned, and he started perfecting his art and his craft. And he showed me in practice running other people's plays because he ran the scout team for our defense. And after the Morgan game, it got to a point where I just felt that both of our quarterbacks were struggling, and it showed on film. And I said, well, you know what? Why not give the third guy an opportunity? He hasn't had it, and let's see what he's going to do. and he took advantage of his opportunity. He raised himself up in the ranks, and we look forward to seeing him progress in the spring and giving him an opportunity to earn a starting job. So we're going to see how it goes, but like I told our guys the other day, there are no starters as of Saturday afternoon at 5 o'clock. For 2019, there are no starters. Everything has to be earned.
So it was safe to say that was a Jamie Foxx situation from the movie Any Given Sunday.
Well, yeah, you can say that, but it was definitely an opportunity for Shane, and I thought that he deserved it. He practices so hard. He gives our defense fits every week, and all he did was come in and do the same things that he's been doing to our defense. He did it to University of Virginia Lynchburg, and it was a good showing for him. His confidence is way high now, and I'm looking for him to take his game to another level.
Thank you, Coach. We'll now open up the call for questions from the media.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you'd like to register a question, please press the 1 followed by the 4 on your telephone. 1-4 to register a question. There appear to be no questions on the phone lines at this time.
Coach, just talk about the season as a whole, and also, what was your biggest learning experience, especially at Dale State, coming in late in the process? Just talk about all of that to where you are right now.
Well, we knew we were going to have some challenges with the late signing, and we knew we'd have to be creative when it came to recruiting. And I just applaud the coaching staff for staying the course, getting us some real quality guys. Although they were late, these are guys that other schools had passed on, or they were late qualifiers, but they came in and they adapted to the Delaware State way, which was very, very promising to us. Michael Chris Ike, the running back out of Canada, who was the Rookie of the Week a few weeks ago, is going to be a big part of what we do next year. He's a big back. He's fast. He has 4 years with us, but he got an opportunity because of the new rules that he could play in 4 games and still maintain a redshirt year. So the future's promising at Delaware State. Like I said, we have a long way to go now. Long way to go. We got to get out here and recruit and beat the pavement and bring guys in. But to get 3 wins, very, very fortunate for that. Felt that we could have had a couple more in different games. Unfortunately, it wasn't in the cards this year. But we're looking for big strides next year with the guys we bring in, what we already have. Everybody be familiar with the process and what we're doing. And the biggest thing I learned this year is that the MEAC, and I said this earlier, is pretty evenly yoked when it comes to talent-wise. You see any team can beat any other team, and if you look at the standings right now, I think there's 3 teams that had winning records, and everyone else is pretty much evenly yoked. So I would imagine it will be the same way again next year, and we just got to come up so we're in that top tier of football programs in the MEAC.
And speaking of recruiting and the off season coming up, just talk about now you've been there a year and your sales pitch to a prospective recruit at Delaware State, especially with this early period. You can get them in even earlier. So just talk about, what are you going to be able to sell, from the campus to playing time, things like that.
Well, the biggest thing is that anyone who comes to Delaware State gets an opportunity to be a part of the turnaround and be a part of the process of getting the program back on track. So the most exciting thing about Delaware State is that it's centrally located. I mean, we're one of the few HBCUs that's in the middle of a capital of a state. I mean, we're right. Our location is right in the heart of Delaware, the capital of the state of Delaware. It's in walking distance of every fine restaurant and everything else. So the location's key, where we are on the East Coast in terms of being in a 6-hour radius of other states. So our recruiting plan is pretty simple. Take Delaware State, recruit 6 hours out, and then we're still going to go out to other places as well because we got people to look at. But for the most part, we're going to try to get all our fan base and all our recruits back to Delaware State where we can get the best kids and not have to go all across the country to bring them in. We have a Canadian connection now which has been well for us. And we're still going to recruit Canada because we have a couple kids now from Canada that have done well. So we're going to definitely go back up there and see what they have. But for the most part, you get the chance to come to Delaware State, get a quality education, and be a part of something special.
And, I like people that don't have egos, and you're one of those guys because you don't want to sell them on yourself. How many head coaches have a Super Bowl ring?
No. My kids will tell you right now, it's not about Rob Milstead. It never has been. If you want to know about Rob Milstead, just Google. It's there. I don't even talk about me and what I did because it can't change. I talk about getting our program to a point where we have national recognition. I've always been a big picture guy. Okay, I always wanted to win a Super Bowl, wanted to win multiple MEAC championships and those type of things. So my thing is I want to get to Atlanta. I want to get to that Celebration Bowl, and I'm actually going to go down there this year because I want to see what it's all about so I can bring it back to my program and I can share with them in pictures and things of what it was like to be at the Celebration Bowl. And I want to be there next year in the Celebration Bowl as a coach and want the team to be there. So that's our goal.
Well, Coach, I appreciate it. I enjoyed our talks this year, and we definitely look forward to seeing you down the road. And good luck this off season as you prepare for year 2 in Dover.
Hey, thank you, Ryan. I appreciate all you do for the MEAC. Man, it's been a pleasure.
Same here, Coach, and I look forward to speaking with you again. Hopefully before the season, but we'll definitely make time. So thanks again, Coach, and good luck for the off season for you and your team.
Sounds great. Take care, Ryan. Happy Thanksgiving.
Same here, Coach. That was Delaware State's Rod Milstead as the Hornets finished the season with their most wins since 2013, as there were 3-8 overall and 2-5 in MEAC play. And we will go now to Norfolk State University head coach Latrell Scott. The Spartans fell this past weekend to Morgan State and will have a week off as they will close the season against Liberty on December 1st in Lynchburg. Good morning, Coach. How you doing?
Good, Ryan. How about yourself?
I'm good, Coach. Just talk about last weekend's game versus Morgan State.
You have to credit Coach Jones and his staff that they put together a spectacular offensive game plan and caught us off guard on defense and a lot of quarterback runs and a lot of things that kept us off balance on defense. We've usually been pretty tough, on defense in the conference, but those guys came in and imposed their will. Offensively, I thought we played as well as we could play in the second half, but it's tough to do against a good football team.
And speaking of on offense, Juwan Carter is closing the season out probably at the level you probably expected him all year. Just talk about what you think has changed to where now he's putting up the kind of numbers that a lot of people really like to see in terms of offense.
Well, we threw it a bunch. We threw the ball downfield, and he made good decisions. Didn't force things. Just kind of played within the scope of the offense. Ran it when he needed to. Made the throws that we needed him to make. There's no doubt in our mind that he could do it. Other than that 4-game stretch, he played that well. But he's 19. The fortunate thing is that we've got him back a year. We've got him back next year, and we got another week with him. So we're going to try to finish the season and let him keep building on what he's done for us so far.
Thank you, Coach. We'll now open up the call for questions from the media.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you'd like to register a question, please press the 1 followed by the 4 on your telephone. 1-4 to register for a question. And there are no questions at this time.
Coach, even though the season's not over, just talk about the season as a whole, and what have you learned about your team through the highs and the lows of the season so far?
Well, it's been disappointing. A lot of weeks. Very proud of the way they bounced back last week to beat Howard. Then we come back out and don't play well enough. I didn't think our effort was very good last week. And sometimes that can happen, and it's my job to get that fixed. So we're going to practice today and tomorrow before we take some time off for Thanksgiving and get back in here and try to be as competitive as we possibly can. The positive is that, we only lose about 4 or 5 starters, and we get a lot of guys back, and we'll have a lot of juniors on next year's team. So we'll come back and be ready to go by the time MEAC play starts next season.
And then also, even though it's 2 weeks from now, you have a game against Liberty. You close. So how have you ever had to be in a situation where you had a game this late that's not postseason? And if so, how do you approach it with your team? Because I know obviously you would like them to get out there as fast as you can to shake off last week, but you had a week off. So just talk about how what will be your approach throughout this next week and a half.
Well, as I said, we're going to practice today. We're going to practice tomorrow. We're going to let them go home. We're going to try to have a good time. There's no need in pouting about it. Our season is what it's been, and we talked to the team about having one more week together. So I get a chance to coach Marcus Taylor, Quintrell Chung, and a lot of those guys, for the last time of their career. So we're going to have a good time with it and do everything that's in our power to try to go up and beat Liberty.
And speaking of Marcus Taylor, just talk about him as a player on and off the field, because a lot of people kind of have seen what he is, but it's kind of one of those situations. Some fans may not appreciate, what you have until he's gone. But just talk about what he brings to the table and the type of player he is, all the way around.
Well, there's no question about it. He's one of the most electric players in the conference. He can take a 5-yard pass, 90 yards. He can return a punt for a touchdown. He can return a kickoff for a touchdown. It's been a pleasure of mine to have had him here for 4 years, and he's very special to me. One of my favorite players on our team, one of our favorite people on our team. He's overcome a ton of adversity to be here and be able to, have himself in a situation to graduate. So we're thankful for his contributions, and we'll definitely miss him.
And also, just talk about, the off season and your immediate plans in terms of recruiting. And this is the second year, the early signing period, is in place. So just talk about how you plan on using that and just going from that point forward.
Well, when you don't have a ton of seniors, you don't have a ton of scholarships. So, we won't have a very big class, because we don't have a huge amount of guys leaving. So, what we plan on doing is trying to identify the best possible players at the positions of need for us, and hopefully we can kind of scour the country and bring some men back in here to kind of help us fortify what we have.
And lastly, Coach, just talk about Quintrell Chung, another guy. I think people would miss him also, but the type of player he is, similar to Marcus Taylor. What did he bring to the team, from off the field, and then also his on the field leadership?
Well, Quintrell's been a glue guy for us. He's been steady all day, every day since he's been here. Never too high, never too low. He didn't play very well last week, so I know he's got one more college game, and we'll come back and fix that. But just having a guy that was selfless enough to move from running back to linebacker 2 years ago, he's been a blessing to have. And again, he's another one of those kids that, one of the first commits to commit to our program upon our arrival, and his impact on this program, as you said, may not be noticed by many, but he's done a lot around here since he's been here, and we're thankful to have had him in our program also.
And before I let you go, just talk about Liberty, the type of program they have, and what to expect when you get to field against them on December 1st.
Really good football team. Obviously, they've invested a ton of money in what they're trying to do. They had a tough go against Auburn last week, but I think a lot of people would. But, very, very good quarterback. Probably got 2 NFL receivers. A lot of kids on defense that can play. It'll be a tough task for us. Liberty's done a tremendous job of building up their program and their stadium and their facilities. So it'll be a great atmosphere for us to go out and close our season in.
Well, Coach, we enjoyed speaking with you this year, and good luck in 2 weeks, and definitely good luck in the off season, and we'll definitely look forward to speaking with you down the line.
Well, definitely. Thank you, Ryan. Appreciate all the coverage and your work this season.
Same, Coach, and good luck again against Liberty.
Thank you, man. Take care.
You too. We were joined by Latrell Scott of Norfolk State, as the Spartans currently have a 4-6 overall record and are 2-5 in MEAC play, as they will have a contest on December 1st at Liberty. and which is a makeup game from earlier in the year as the contest was rescheduled due to the hurricane in the Hampton Roads area. State, we are joined by head coach Buddy Pough. The Bulldogs defeated Savannah State last weekend and will play North Carolina Central this weekend in a rescheduled contest from the September 15th at 1:30 p.m. also in Orangeburg. Good morning, Coach. How you doing?
Good morning, Ryan. How are you all?
We're good, Coach. Just talk about your team play last week in that gritty win over Savannah State.
Yeah, a little bit grittier than we had planned. Savannah State came in here and knocked us around all over the place, and we ended up being able to win the football game, but it wasn't pretty. They go up 17-7 in the first half. I drove the football down and scored right at the end of the half a couple times, and then we get out the second half and they stop us and they drive it down a couple more times, but our defense eventually gets them stopped and they miss a field goal. And from that point on, we kind of back and forth. We finally get the ball and get it down and get it in. And then toward the middle of the fourth quarter, their quarterback hits up in there on the little read play, on one of the power read kind of style plays. And one of our guys, that moved forward, punches the ball out. And one of our other young men, Dwayne Nichols, catches it in the air almost on a dead run and runs it in for a score. And we end up winning the game 21-17. But, it was by no means, an easy game for us. And, I got to take my hat off to Coach Rayburn and wish them luck, as they go down or go wherever they're going, next year. I think he's done a fantastic job with that program, and I'm sure, they'll be good wherever they go from here.
And I've been asking everyone about the season, but you still have one game left this week in North Carolina Central, and also you were playing basically for a share of second place if you went out. So just talk about North Carolina Central from what you've seen on film so far.
Yeah, we played Central. Central has had some of the better wins, in the league. Of course, this past weekend they ran into a buzzsaw with the North Carolina A&T team coming in there that might be, heating up at about the right time. Of course, Coach Eastman's team, has been traditionally known for being really good on defense. He generally runs the defense himself, and those guys move around. They got some players that were recognized as some of the top players in the league, and then, offensively they can, run it and throw it with equal ability at times, and they're always good in the return game. So it'll be a tough game for us. Central will be in here this coming Saturday. I don't know exactly how either of these teams will react to the situation, that we've got here. This game was actually supposed to be played, back in September. And, we're in a makeup kind of situation with not a whole lot on the line. But at the same time, pride's on the line. And I think maybe pride might be, the biggest thing that we have between us.
And, Coach, just talk about, the way your team is continue to fight through situations, and they're getting better every week. Just talk about what you've been able to see. And let me ask you this. By y'all being down late in the game last week, do you think would this team do the same at the earlier part of the season, or you think by them
No.
you think that's just the way growth is now?
Yeah, I think we've gained, a bunch of confidence, from, the success that we've had here, toward the latter part of our schedule. There was a point there where, we couldn't seem to, make anything happen, and anything that could go wrong did go wrong. We're at the point now where, I think we've got some guys that have developed. We're playing a bunch of freshmen, and those kids kind of believe that we're going to have a way to win the game some kind of way if we just hang in there. So, yeah, you're exactly right. This would be, a great time for us to be starting our season. I wish I could go back and put this team on the field, in September and see where we go to from here, as opposed to being toward the end of the year.
Thank you, Coach. We'll now open up the call for questions from the media.
Ladies and gentlemen, to register a question, it is the 1 followed by the 4 on your telephone. 1-4 to register a question. And we do have a question from the line of Donald Ware with Box to Row. Please proceed with your question.
Good morning, Coach Pough. How are you?
Good morning.
For you, what's been the difference the second half of the season? I mean, you've knocked off some heavyweights, Howard, Florida A&M, et cetera. So what's been the difference the second half?
I think our team has grown up some. We had a chance to go back and stir ourselves some and to try to decide, the things that we could maybe use more, emphasize more toward the positive side of what we've shown some ability to execute. I think our kids were just young as all get out. When you're playing freshmen, all over the place, it takes a while for them to kind of get a grip on exactly what's expected and how you got to prepare and the level of execution that you got to have to be able to compete at this level. So I think it was a combination of things, but more than anything else, I think it was the fact that that we started to get going some on offense and find our way some there. Offensive line started playing a little bit better.
How much have you really seen Tyrese Nick grow and improve as the season has progressed?
A bunch. He regressed though some this past weekend, didn't play nearly as well. We'd like to think that that he could be our guy for the next 2 years. He's just he's just a sophomore, and until you get to the point where you've experienced some success and then continuously keep maybe making those improvements or gains each week, then you really don't know if this guy is going to be the real second coming of one of the better players here at South Carolina State. So he's in the doghouse a little bit this week. He was kind of the man around campus there for a while, and then this past weekend it didn't go quite so well. So hopefully he'll come back and play better this week. But we do think that he's a talent.
Why do you think, was it some things that Savannah State was doing? Why do you think he struggled a little bit this past week?
Yeah, I think it was some things that Savannah State was doing, but I think it was some things that he did also. I thought that he played a little bit, a little bit timid. He generally is a tough, hard-nosed guy, who really was picking up in there, with the ball in his hand, that kind of way. He's almost like a running back, that's a quarterback. And he was really hesitant this past week. So hopefully he'll improve and be somewhat better this week.
Okay, I appreciate it, Coach. Thank you.
All right, Don.
And there are no further questions at this time.
Coach, and so far, just talk about the season as a whole up to this point, and what surprised you about this team that you didn't even expect so far?
Well, Ryan, it surprises me that I wish the season would go on from here. There was a point about mid-season where all we wanted to do was just hurry up and get finished and go home. We're at the point now where, we wish we could continue to play on for another month or so. So, that's a big surprise. I never would have thought, that we would have turned our season around to the point and be excited as we are. We had practice this morning, and everybody was there, all bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, running around and having a good time. And, I was enjoying it, that kind of stuff. So, that's a surprise to us as much as anything, because there was a point there where we didn't look like, we'd ever want to see a football again.
Well, Coach, we can make some calls. We can extend the season if you want.
No, I think we're done. I think we're going to play this thing Saturday, and then I'm going to look for me a doggone cool one somewhere.
And I'm reading all these reports about teams still trying to find 12 games for weather. So, hey, Coach, I can
Is that right? Yeah.
I can make some calls for you. But,
well, do that. Hey, listen to this here. If you can find one, call us. We'll play.
Okay, there may not be any money involved, Coach. I want to let you know.
Well, that might have a little problem. That might add a little bit of another dimension to it. But now, if you can find somebody that's got a check, then I got a team, and we'll show up somewhere.
Well, Coach, I wanted to ask this before we close out. There's a person wearing wearing number 10 on your team this year, and I don't know the system, but you didn't retire jersey number 10. Can you just talk about what led to that decision that you put someone in jersey number 10? How y'all do it?
The guy who's wearing number 10 is from his high school. He's a freshman.
Oh.
His name is Dwayne Nichols, and he's from over at Lakeview High School in Dillon County, South Carolina. So we didn't just put anybody in 10. You can bet that. And of course, he was the guy who got who scored the touchdown and won the game for Saturday. Can you believe that?
Okay.
So, when we put a guy in 10, we think he got a shot at being pretty good.
Okay. And then lastly, just before we close, I just talk about, now, what are your players, when they see some of their peers having success in the NFL, how do they, do you really see them gravitate to that and elevate their level of their play on the field?
Well, that's what you would hope would happen. They know that they can do the same kinds of things themselves if they work at it. If they hone their craft that way. We've got guys who've been, in the presence of the Darius Leonards and the Javon Hargraves of the world. The Justin Evans. For long periods of time, and they know they put their britches on and work hard and do all the kinds of same things that they do. And the big thing they understand is how those guys go about handling their business. How they practice, how they go to class, how they do things, just in general in their lives. So if they emulate what they saw, those guys do while they were here. If they emulate what they see, guys doing around them that are doing the right things, then they know they got a chance to be able to play the game some more. But let me tell you this now, Ryan. We got some other guys that was on that team that'll be doctors and lawyers and some Indian chiefs, whatever the heck else you can think of. And let me tell you, those guys all, I think, make a bigger impact sometimes on our program than those guys who you see on TV on Sundays.
And I won't deny that. And you coach at the highest levels, coaching. Sometimes, your biggest boosters is someone that you never even expect. So I definitely understand where you're going from. Well, thank you, Coach. We enjoyed speaking with you again, and good luck this weekend as you host North Carolina Central.
I appreciate it, guys.
Thank you. South Carolina State will host North Carolina Central this weekend in Orangeburg. Kickoff is set for 1:30 p.m. as it will be the season finale for both teams. We'll now move on to Greensboro, North Carolina, as we're joined by North Carolina A&T State head coach Sam Washington. The Aggies defeated North Carolina Central this past weekend and have captured their second straight MEAC championship outright and will represent the MEAC at the Air Force Celebration Bowl on December 15th in Atlanta for the third time in university history and the second consecutive year. Good morning, Coach. How you doing?
I'm doing well, Ryan. How are you this morning?
I'm good, Coach. Just talk about last weekend's game. As you went into enemy territory, you came out with an impressive win.
Thank you for that. I thought we played all three phases of the football game extremely well. I thought the offense were able to run the ball. I thought Lamar made some very bright and fine decisions throwing the football. He also he gave 70-some yards rushing. And, that's very rare for him. I thought the offensive line did a fabulous job, getting a hat on the hat. And the receivers did a good job of staying, connected downfield with blocks. Defensively is perhaps the best performance of the defense this year. I think we held them to minus 21 yards rushing. And I think total yards was like 41 yards. And so that's a good day for the defense. Special teams, finally, I thought the kickers, kicked the ball well, especially the punter. Finished with a 46-yard average. And that has been a thorn in our sides. And I thought we improved. And Noel Luis, 6 for 6 on field goals and, extra points and PATs. And he also made a field goal, which is, very bright and very happy to see that we were able to do those things. And I thought the kids played with a lot of intensity and a lot of emotions and that had to be controlled, and I thought they did a good job of doing just that. They controlled their emotions, I thought, very well.
And speaking of two things I'd like to ask. The first one, do you think that performance, obviously you're going against your rival, or is it just a case where everyone's healthy and everyone's peaking? And talk about that in terms of your team performance on Saturday, or this is what you've been expecting from day one?
You know what? I have been expecting this, for quite some time. I think all the above is the correct answer. It's the first week we pretty much had everyone healthy, with the exception of Frank McCain defensively. But the offensive line was, 100%, and that has not happened for quite some time. Lamar has been, battling pretty much the entire season. Ebell, it was good to see him back in rare form. He looked like himself of old, and he played a fabulous game. So I think that has a lot to do with it. But I thought also they did a good job of preparation, of preparing for the game, and playing together. And it was a long time coming.
And obviously, after the game, everyone knew, going into the game, what was at stake. And then after the game, I was reading a report where you tried to drown out what was going on outside of stuff, outside of the game you're at, and something you just can't control. But just talk about, how do you, in this day and age, and coach, I know you're from a different era, where, these kids got so much access to instant information, and sometimes one little thing can disrupt your whole game plan because people know things instantly. Talk about how trying to control that and focusing on just the task that you're preparing them to do.
It's very difficult. That's what it is. But not quite impossible. I think for the most part, they listened, but they could not wait. They could not wait for the game to end, to run to their phones and find out what was going on. But I thought they did a very good job of, the preparation week, not, concerning themselves with the playoffs or the bowl game. Just, stayed in the moment. The most important thing we had to do was win the football game. Without a win there, who knows? Nothing would have been possible. So I thought we stayed focused in that moment.
Well, thank you, Coach. When I'll open up the call for questions from the media.
Once again, ladies and gentlemen, to register a phone question, it is the 1 followed by the 4. 1 4 to register a question. And we do have a question from the line of Michael Wallace with Grind City Media. Please proceed with your question.
Yes, Coach Washington. Obviously, you guys have been in this position before several times over the last 3 or 4 years. But what's this next month like? I mean, obviously, guys will be able to get a chance to get healthy and healed up. But is it sort of tough and challenging to go almost a month without playing before you get back to one of the biggest games that obviously one of the biggest games on the schedule?
Absolutely. It is tough. But the bright side is we can, healed and lick our wounds and try to, go back. What we normally do is start over pretty much. I hate to use that loosely. But, the first week will be all fundamental practice. Every day we'll work on just basic fundamentals and mechanics and do some team building stuff. And then that'll give us an idea, eliminate at least, narrow down the 2 teams that we possibly will be playing. And then we'll start, devising different plans.
And to follow up on that, you talked about this before, but just from a broad perspective, being as though you guys have already had success in the Celebration Bowl, is there a part of you that would like to see how great this team and how much of a run this team could do on a national playoff schedule, or are you guys pretty much past that just because of the commitments, obviously, with the conference?
Well, at this point, it's the bowl game. You know, had we gone to the playoffs, I was looking forward to see exactly how good we possibly could play, and see exactly where we are when you think about the North Dakota states, the James Madisons, you know, the powerhouses of FCS. So that would have been a challenge as well. But you know, this bowl game is so attractive, it's almost impossible to turn down.
Thanks, Coach. Appreciate it.
Mm-hmm.
And our next question comes from the line of Ty Miller with Power News and Sports Radio Network. Please proceed with your question.
Hey, Coach Washington, good morning to you.
Good morning, Ty.
Coach, you have 3 players up for Black College Player of the Year. You got Markwell Cartwright, Lamar Renard, and Darrell Johnson. Can you talk about briefly each guy and why they are so worthy of that recognition and possibly winning the award?
Wow, that's really amazing. But if you just watch each one of those young men play, their approach to the game is unbelievable, and their commitment to the game is unbelievable. Cartwright is just a hard-nosed, you know, downhill runner that played the old-fashioned way. He's very physical, and he has the ability to run over you, run around you, run through you, and makes him very unique. You know, nowadays you don't quite see as many as physical runners as he is. Lamar is just a winner. There's something about that kid. He just wins, and he knows how to win, and he has great leadership qualities that make it very easy, you know, to coach. He's a very smart guy, you know, understand the game, and he's a sponge. He's always soaking up information. And what I always admire most about him, he's a great decision maker. He made very good decisions, and that's what makes him special. DJ, there is a workaholic. His approach to practice is unbelievable, and I think that's what carry over to the ball game. And you know, we say the ball game should be easier than practice, and he believed that. And he has one gear, and it's high. He's staying high gear from start to finish, and that's what makes him very unique. Along with a lot of talent, he can run, he can change direction, and he uses his hands well. So he's a good football player.
And for you, Coach, succeeding Rod Broadway, did you think that you'd be in line yourself for Coach of the Year on a national basis, also winning the MEAC Championship, and now possibly back-to-back Black College National Championship with the Aggies?
Well, you know what? When I got the job, I said this, and I believe this. I wasn't given keys to a Volkswagen. I was given keys to a very fine football team, and I thought we should have opportunities, you know, for postseason play at the beginning of the year, and just thankful that it came to pass.
And for you, Coach, what does it mean on a personal level if you want to even talk about the credit that you deserve yourself?
Well, you know what? Honestly, I haven't gotten to that point yet. There's still a lot of work to be done, and it's this senior class that I think we should focus on. And what they've been able to accomplish is just amazing. 14 championship, 15 championship, 16. We go to the playoffs, 17 national championship, and here in 18, another championship. That's remarkable. For the last 5 years, these kids, you know, have won a championship. And I'm just proud to be a part of that.
Thank you, Coach, and good luck as you go forward in the bowl game.
Thank you.
And there are no further questions at this time.
Well, Coach, thank you. But for those who own a Volkswagen, they may take offense to that comment. So, you know, may need to step it down, Coach, but we understand.
Hey, those are your words. Those not mine. I was talking about the car that I have, not someone else's.
Well, Coach, definitely. We'll speak definitely down the road, and good luck this season, or remaining this season, and we'll talk as we get closer to December.
Thank you very much, man. Always enjoy.
Same here, Coach. North Carolina A&T State finished the regular season with a 9-2 overall record and a 6-1 mark in MEAC play. They'll play in the Air Force Reserve Celebration Bowl on December 15th in Atlanta against the winner of the SWAC, live on ABC. We're now joined by North Carolina Central head coach Granville Eastman as the Eagles close out the regular season at South Carolina State on Saturday. Good morning, Coach. How you doing?
Hey, good morning, Ryan. Doing well. How are you today?
I'm good, Coach. Coach, just recap last week's game against North Carolina A&T State, and once you kind of got back and saw the film, what's some of the things that stood out?
Well, I mean, it was a humbling experience. Credit to them. Congratulations to Coach Washington and his staff, his football team for certainly a great win over their rivals and winning the conference, MEAC Conference. I wish them the best going forward. As we came back and watched the film, they were just dominant. They really imposed their will on us. We didn't have the manpower, muscle power to really slow them down, which is what we went into the game kind of hoping to do. Defensively trying to stop the run, slow down Cartwright and Payne. At times we had success, but then they spread us out and they got Raynard to pull off some big runs. And then just, gradually separated, and up front they showed their might, as far as displacing our defensive linemen. I think on the other side of the ball defensively, man, they just played in our backfield, our offensive backfield all day long. That's about the dominant performance I've seen in a football game. And when you went back and saw the film, you were not deceived. It wasn't like our kids weren't trying at times. They were just outmanned. And, we try to take some big shots to generate some energy. We missed some opportunities there. Earlier in the game, I would like to see what would have happened had we converted on some of those long passes to maybe shorten the field or whatnot, but just didn't have it. And, got really outworked and outplayed by a better team.
And you still have a game this week. So just talk about putting last week's game, obviously it was a rivalry, it was emotional, behind, and the focus on closing out the season strong from this point.
Well, one thing we talked about on Sunday was pride. We're a school that has pride, a football program that's had pride in what we've accomplished and done. And we talked about this game being a game that we've got to bounce back. It's the last game. Not very many FCS teams are playing at this time of year, and so we need to get the most out of it, play with pride, get our spirit back, get our fighting spirit back. And so I'm anxious, to see, especially what the leadership of our seniors will look like this coming Saturday in a game that, should still mean a lot to us, a chance to get another win and, go into the off season feeling good about our last game.
And one question I wanted to ask, and it's kind of happened throughout the season. Talk about how did you deal with the loss of several key players, particularly your quarterback when he was coming into his own, and he had some other key players. I know there was a lot of expectations behind, but they weren't available due to injury. So how did you adjust, and how did that affect some of the things you may have wanted to do as the season progressed?
Well, we always had a saying around here, next man up, and that's how we try to approach it. Unfortunately, I haven't seen anything like this. This year is my 5th year here, and have never experienced, where we just had so many multiple injuries weeks upon weeks. And so we ended up having to play a lot of young players, Ryan. We were going to do that on defense to begin with. It just became more and more necessary as the injuries accumulated on the offensive side of the ball. You're right. Chauncey Caldwell was not only our number one quarterback, but he was also our emotional leader, a guy who could lift others as well. And you said hit it right in the point. He hit it right in the head. He was really coming into his own. The game had started to slow down for him. You could see it. And then all of a sudden we were making other plans. And so it was some adversity to deal with. If there's one good positive out of it, a lot of young guys, a lot of younger players played. Maybe a little too much more than we would have liked, certainly. Some, unfortunately, played a little earlier than we would have liked them to. But there's going to be a positive here going forward. I think we can look forward to building depth. And we were in a few games that with some reserve players that it's something we can build on.
Thank you, Coach. When I open up the call for questions from the media.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you'd like to register a question, please press the 1, followed by the 4 on your telephone. 1-4 to register a question. And there are no questions at this time.
Coach, just talk about the season as a whole and what you expect coming in, and what did you learn about this team? Even though you still have one game left, what is probably the biggest thing you've seen that you didn't even expect to see out this group?
Well, coming in, we thought we'd be somewhere around middle of the pack, with maybe some fortunate opportunities to be in the conference championship conversation. But a lot of things would have to have gone well in order for that to happen. Now we know it did not. What I'm most proud of is, for the most part, our young men, they fought, tried to represent us well. I'm pleased in the direction of a lot of our younger players and where they're going. We still need to have improvements and grow in areas of strength and development. That'll be very vital this off season. It's a process that we begun last year, and it's got to take another step up. That's going to be crucial to what we're going to be able to, what we're going to be capable of. excuse me, this coming season. But I'm really pleased with our younger players, the way they grew up, they were thrown in the fire, and they fought hard, did a lot of good things. I'm grateful to our older guys for having the leadership and making sure that our kids showed up every Saturday as best we could and played hard.
And speaking of younger guys and older guys, and that's something I even had to go back. You kind of alluded to some things, and some of the names that I got used to hearing, such as Reggie Hunters, the Alden McClellans,
yeah.
the Kennan O'Neills, and I can go on and on, but you know where
right.
I'm going. But how about the over 4 or 5 year guys that've been in the
yeah.
system, and so
yeah.
people don't realize trying to replace people like that. Just talk about as a coach trying to replace so many guys that had such an impact in the program's success.
Well, it's really, really tough. We were talking about it earlier this week as a defensive staff, and Devontae Reynolds is the only one that remains that's in that conversation of those guys you just mentioned. And, up front, you had Jaquan Smith, Antonio Brown, most other guys that were older players that were with us in junior, senior years, are very productive. And so that's what I mean by, we have some growing up to do. We certainly did that, have taken our bumps and bruises, are going to continue to work and get better. They're talented. They're just really raw and green. And you realize, how good you had it when you mentioned some of those former names that you did that no longer are playing for you. And so we've got to grow these guys up quick, get them some experience and strength on both sides of the ball. We're coming around. Offensively, we're a little ahead than we are defensively. The injuries, unfortunately, offensively really set us back because I think we could have done some really, some nice things. But the future is bright, and I'm really looking forward to it.
Well, thank you, Coach. And just looking at your schedule, despite all that, you're basically a few plays away. It's a whole, the results are different. So, they're on that upward trajectory, according to looking at these stats. So, we do appreciate you for taking time out to speak with us this season, and good luck this weekend. And we definitely will talk again in the off season.
Great, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Oh, no problem, Coach. North Carolina Central will face South Carolina State this Saturday afternoon in Orangeburg. Kickoff is set for 1:30 p.m. We will close out this morning's teleconference with our final head coach, Ernest Jones of Morgan State. The Bears defeated Norfolk State to close out the season, and they are done for the season, but have made significant progress on the season, and Coach Jones will talk about that. Coach, good morning. How you doing?
Good morning, Ryan. I'm doing well. How are you?
Good. Recap last week's game at Norfolk State, and what stood out once you kind of got back and recapped everything?
Well, a couple things. It was good to see the football team come together and play consistently for 2 consecutive weeks in a row, showing the identity that we put out in front when we first started our season. To see them, finish our season that way, just to see the team, what the future will look like. I mean, we came here to build a program, and that's what we were doing. And the final 2 weeks of the season, you can see what that building will look like, and what it's looking like around here. And one of the more pleasing things was that we were able to get a bunch of our younger guys, which are the future of our program, to get to play, better than a quarter in that last football game. So that was pretty good to get those guys to get a feel of playing in a college football game as we try to build with them.
Well, entering the off season, you're going to have a great problem, and I think every coach in America would love to have that problem. Your quarterback, DJ, I don't want to pronounce his last name. I don't want to mess it up. So I'll let you do it. Close out the year with some strong numbers. You talk about his development, and what does that do for him heading into the offseason?
Yeah, DJ Golak. I mean, he started 2 football games and he got 2 football wins. So that's great for him. We knew we had a good quarterback in DJ Golak. We thought we had a good quarterback in DeAndre as well. I mean, they both were competing all summer to be the starting quarterback. DeAndre won it, and well-deserved. He was the captain of our team, and he was the quarterback at the beginning of the season, and we were still trying to develop DJ. We saw spurts of him being a good quarterback, in practice, and a couple times we put him in the game. But finally, at the end of the season, we said, let's get this kid a shot and see can he be our quarterback of the future, and he was able to do it. I mean, what he is he gets the ball out of his hand pretty quickly. His release is quicker than DeAndre's. He's a bigger kid. He's about 215, 220. He's not afraid to run with the football, which is something that we want to do. The kids like him. I mean, he's well-respected in our locker room. He got great personality. He's just a young freshman that we needed to mature. So the off-season will be really, really good with him and DeAndre both coming back. But right now I would have to say DJ will have the nod as we go into the off-season.
And you coached several quarterbacks, and I can go back to your Alcorn State days. Who does DJ remind you of at this point? There's someone that we probably have seen that he kind of resembles.
Yeah, I would go with a guy, two quarterbacks. One is a guy named Zach Colares. He was a guy that we coached at Cincinnati. Athletic kid, could run around, could make the throws. I mean, had a great personality. I think Zach's playing somewhere over in Canada right now, but DJ reminds me of Zach. And then he reminds me of Everett Golson, a kid we coached at Notre Dame, just a young kid from Carolina who, was great personality, and they are alike off the field. There are a lot of things about Everett that's just like DJ here. But the competition, the competitiveness, to be able to run with the football and throw the football, I would say Everett Golson, a guy that we coached over at Notre Dame. Those two quarterbacks are guys that remind me of DJ.
Some big shoes to fill, Coach, but that's what you want in a quarterback. And also, you preach aggressiveness from day one when we first heard you at the football press luncheon, and you delivered 29 sacks to lead the MEAC. Just talk about the play of your defense.
Yes, sir. I mean, that's who we are. I mean, we're going to be aggressive. I mean, 3 things that follow us is we want to be physical, we want to be aggressive, and we want to be violent. And that's our mark. And we're going to get after quarterbacks. We're going to get after ball carriers in general. They're going to have to get the football out of their hand if they're a quarterback, and they're going to have to get through the line of scrimmage. One of the weaknesses of that aggressive play is big plays. We gave up some big plays, too many big plays this year via the pass, via the run. But that's who we are. We want to be a team that gets the ball back to our offense. I'm not sure exactly what the stat is, but I would imagine we're somewhere near the top of turnovers, of getting the football back to our offense and sacking quarterbacks and tackles behind the line of scrimmage. That's who we are. We have a saying here is that we're not afraid to live that life, and our defensive players are not afraid to live that life. So that's who we are.
Thank you, Coach. I'll open up the call for questions from the media.
Once again, to register a phone question, it is the 1 followed by the 4 on your telephone. 1-4 to register a question. There are no questions on the phone lines at this time.
Coach, just talk about your season as a whole, and what caught you by surprise with the team that you didn't even expect to see heading into the season?
Yeah, as a whole, again, the main thing that we wanted was to get an identity. Who are we on offense? We wanted to be a physical, run the football right at your offense. We didn't want to trick you. You didn't see many trick plays out of our team at all this whole year. We wanted to be able to have our quarterback throw the football to the wide receivers right here and let them go make plays, and we needed a quarterback that can run the football. That happened. So we built that identity on offense. We were going to be aggressive on defense where we were going to get after teams, try to sack the quarterback, tackle the ball carrier, make them get the ball out of their hand, and we did that. We wanted to turn the ball over back to our offense, which we did. And on special teams, we wanted our best players to play. So we wasn't a team who put all our young guys out there. In order to start on our offense or defense, you had to be on at least 2 special teams. So we got that. But the thing that was most surprising for me was that they picked up on what we wanted to do a lot quicker than I thought. Honestly, Ryan, I thought it would take at least a year and a half to 2 years to get there. We're not where we want to be, but we're closer to where we want to be going into next season than where I thought we would be. I thought it would take a little bit longer to understand this identity, to believe into this identity, to buy into it, but they did it for 4 quarters throughout the entire year. The team never quit on me. I thought that they would be a team that could late in games that wouldn't continue to go, but they fought for 4 quarters. They competed for 4 quarters, and they put us in every single football game that we played. We know we lost those football games because of execution. Nothing else. No more, no less. If we had executed better, we'd look better from a win-loss standpoint right now.
And also, Coach, I failed to I definitely got to mention Josh Miles, and that leads to my next question. What are your short-term needs in this off season? But obviously, will one of them be trying to replace a performer on the offensive line such as him?
Yeah, Josh Miles was great. I mean, we got a chance to get every NFL team to come here and watch us practice and or play, which was great. But I don't know that we have a guy on our roster that's as good as Josh Miles that can replace Josh Miles. We have some good young players that's going to be as good as other players in our league, but not at the next level type players right now. We're going to get it addressed in the recruiting. I mean, recruiting is really, really good here at Morgan State University. If you look at our roster, we're very talented with our young guys, and we'll get some more young guys with that same type of talent. So the future is bright here at Morgan State, but to lose Josh is a big deal. I mean, the kid will play, on Sundays moving forward, and we don't have another guy like him on our roster.
And before we close out, and we'll talk about recruiting now. What is your sales pitch now at this time of the year compared to last year about Morgan State? You get on campus, nice facilities, and now people have seen this is going to be a hard-nosed, tough football team that can beat anybody, anytime. So just talk about what is your vision now that this is year 2 now.
That's our sale. I mean, we've shown exactly who we are. So each recruit can look at us week in and week out and see that we are the same team. The difference is we need you. We need those difference-maker type players to come push us over to the next level. And that's what we're going to tell those recruits that can be you. I played a lot of young guys this year, and I made no excuses about we were young, we were this. We're a good football team, and the best players will play. So if you want to play Division I football, you can come here to Morgan State and play with us right now, as long as you can believe in the philosophies and the mentalities that we put forth. So we think we got something to sell here. We think we're going to put together a class that's going to surprise some people around the country, in particular in the MEAC.
Well, Coach, we definitely look forward to the future at Morgan, and we enjoyed speaking with you this year and watching your team progress. And good luck as you prepare for the other part of college football, which is the off season. And so, once again, thanks for joining us this year.
Ryan, you're welcome. I sure appreciate you taking the time out to speak with us and say some kind words about our team every once in a while. So I appreciate that, Ryan. Thanks again.
Once in a while, Coach. Okay, Coach. But appreciate it, though. Thank you. And we'll definitely speak down the road.
Yes, sir.
Morgan State finished the year 4-7 overall and 3-4 in MEAC play, as we were joined by head coach Ernest T. Jones of the Bears of Oregon State.